The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I'm Claire from Trinity Debt Management. I'm a counselor, and the reason that I love working for Trinity is because I get to help folks with one of the hardest problems a family can face, and that's financial difficulties. In this day and age, everything is going up. You have higher utilities, higher grocery bills, higher fuel, and those credit card interest rates have gone up as well. We can help you with that. We can help you get lower interest rates, lower monthly payments. In just a few minutes, we put together a plan that gets you out of debt and keeps you out of debt. I love my job. It's a great program and a very smart way to find debt relief.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
I'm Claire, a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-936-5496.
Here is the latest news and information that impacts you. I'm Derek White. Severe weather season is here, and last night in our listening area was our first night with reports of several thunderstorm warnings throughout the evening and 2 tornado warnings in Logan and Thomas counties as the storm system moved from the southwest to the northeast with reports of tornadoes near Monument, Dighton, and Scott City area. We received reports of golf ball-sized hail in Logan and Scott counties, as well as quarter-sized hail reported in Thomas County. The KXXX radio station in Colby recorded 0.2 of an inch of rainfall over the night. Join the Parkinson's families of Northwest Kansas for a walkathon this Saturday, April 26th at 10 a.m. at Colby Community College Steve Lampe's Athletic Center. All fitness levels are welcome. Donate or sponsor for $250. Proceeds support weekly classes in fitness, art, music, and more for those affected by Parkinson's in Thomas County. For more information on this and other stories, visit nwksradio.net.
Rocket 102.5.
Today, low pressure in southeast Colorado and a stationary front over northwest Kansas will continue chances for showers and storms. AM showers will end early, moving off to the east, then showers and storms redevelop later this afternoon, evening, and overnight. Storms could be severe later today with large hail and damaging winds. It will be cloudy and cooler with highs 55 to 60, winds east-northeast at 5 to 15 miles per hour, and overnight lows will be in the low 40s. Tomorrow will be cloudy and even cooler with highs around 50, with northeast winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Rain showers will linger in the morning and more possible later in the afternoon and overnight, with lows again around 40. Saturday rain chances look to continue with morning showers and late day and overnight showers and storms, while temperatures warm back to 60 and lows in the mid to upper 40s. This meteorologist Chris Schromick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio is the place to turn to weekdays for the latest agriculture news and markets. Being a member of the National Association of Farm Broadcasters, we take pride in making sure you're informed of the latest news from the world of agriculture. Whether it's local, state, regional, or national, if it affects your farm or ranch, you can count on hearing it here. Daily reports from Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio are made possible by Farmers State Bank, Norder Supply of Scott City, Cornerstone Ag, and Woofter Construction and Irrigation.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Spring is here, and Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has everything you need for the season. Get your lawn looking its best with Ultimate Fertilizer and power up with Ego blowers and mowers. Got a project? They got a surplus of lumber ready to go. Plus, fire up the fun with their selection of grills and griddles. Hoover's is also proud to sponsor the Pioneer 5K, 10K, half and full marathon supporting Colby Community College cross country on April 26th and remind you to sign up and participate. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring.
At FNB Bank, we understand the backbone of our community is our local farmers and ranchers. Whether you're growing crops, raising livestock, or investing in new equipment, we're here to help you succeed. Our agricultural loans are tailored to meet the unique needs of your farm with flexible terms from people who understand what it takes to make it in agriculture. When you partner with FNB Bank, you're working with neighbors who know the land and are invested in your success. FNB Bank, rooted in our community, growing with you. Member FDIC.
Get ready for powerful deals at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Right now, drive home a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max with 0.9% financing or up to $7,800 in purchase allowance. Step up in luxury in a 2025 Sierra 1500 Denali and get up to $5,250 in purchase allowance. Or take on any job with the 25 Sierra 2500 with 3.9% APR or up to $2,700 in purchase allowance. These offers won't last. Rush into Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or shop online at hurlchev.com.
Have you heard of Van the Morton Man? Back in Colby, where the legacy began. 100 years strong, building right, building grand. When you build with Morton, it's always as planned. From barns to workshops, garages to sheds, Morton's quality where every smart builder heads. Owned by employees, their hearts in each frame, a warranty that shines, a well-known name. So choose Morton Buildings with a history so vast, quality and care that's always meant to last. Meet them today and get your plan in hand. Crafted with pride by Van the Morton Man.
Get wireless on your terms with NextTech Wireless. Choose from 18, 24, or 36-month agreements. With all the latest devices and a reliable network built for Kansans by Kansans, experience our service when and where you need it most. Plus, you'll receive a $100 Visa gift card on all new lines. Visit a location near you today. NextTech Wireless, connecting Kansans.
The Burlington Home Store has a yard work center. They're your garden center, everything you need. Home construction and repair, plus a great line of cleaning supplies and appliances for your home. Burlington Home Store, your full-service lumber yard. You'll need hand and power tools, too. They've got them by your windows, storm doors, screens, maybe even a barbecue grill. All at your Burlington Home Store, West Burlington. And the staff knows how to help you, and they will, too, at the Burlington Home Store.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4! It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Being a Nebraska football fan these past few years and watching this team week in and week out, I kind of compare it to like doing drugs. You know you shouldn't do it, but you can't stop. Kids, don't do drugs.
The region's only local sports talk.
Not this again.
Yes, this again.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guys everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
Brumbaugh fakes the three, fires it from the corner. Yes!
To the pros.
They set up the screen. McLaughlin has it with Miners out in front. McLaughlin's got a first down inside the 10, inside the 5. Touchdown, Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Buxton a swing and a drive into left center and deep. Back it goes and gone. A 7th inning buck truck sighting here at Target Field. Byron adds on with a 2-out, 2-run homer.
Here come the Caps again. Beauvillier down low. Rebound, score. Dylan Strome puts Washington on top.
Oh, that is hammered to center field. Clear the deck. Look at this cruise missile. Holy smokes. Was that ball hammered? Number 6 for O'Neal Cruz. It is 2-0.
Space. Nichushkin was shadowed by Harley nicely. Here's Nichushkin into the slot. He'll dangle. Shoots and scores.
I can't say that guy's name from the Avalanche. Is it Valerian Nichuscu or something like that? They call him the Choo-Choo. That had me laughing last night. That was really, really good. Unfortunately, a loss for the Avalanche in overtime last night in the first round of the West playoffs of the NHL. 2-1 in overtime, but the series now 2-1 in favor of the Dallas Stars. But a good Thursday morning, everybody. Glad you're with us here. It's April the 24th. A little bit of precipitation came down last night, depending on where you were. Certainly some worse weather as you went further to the east and particularly to the south. I saw to Scott City had I saw golf ball size hail. It looked like to me, maybe a little bit bigger, 2-inch size hail down there in Scott City in part. So the weather was certainly bad in the Scott area. That kind of crept up into between Oakley and Colby, the Monument area, with some tornadoes. So at least some tornado warnings, I should say, as well as some severe weather. And then a little bit of severe weather out further west, west there, east of Lyman,
west of Burlington had a few thunderstorms pop up last night and got a little bit of rain, not as much as what we'd probably like to see, unfortunately, when we're talking rain totals, pretty much anywhere from 10 points up to a half inch. I saw down in Weskin was the most we've seen reported come into the shows today. If you'd like to hit us up with your on the FNB Bank text line, 785-899-2222. If you'd like to give us your rainfall reports, we'll still take those here during the morning blitz. But yeah, just a little sprinkle. Expected to see a little bit more of some severe weather tonight. It sounds like we could see some more stuff, particularly impacting us further. Yesterday it was kind of, in that the Oakley Scott City corridor there. It should be further to the west, it sounds like today, and maybe even a little bit further to the north. But we'll see. We'll see. But chance of thunderstorms this evening. Depends on who you visit. You see the National Weather Service, they think there's a 60% chance of rain, and there's a little bit of a hazardous weather outlook for our listening region here. But Chris Stromick said that maybe yesterday was going to be a little bit worse than today. We'll see. I would just love it if it just came up and rained at around 7:30, 7 o'clock, and wanted to rain for, a few hours. That'd be great. Be able to get Goodland Cowboy baseball in, which we're going to have coverage of here today on Goodland's Rock at 102.5 as the Cowboys look to try to continue their winning ways. They've won 6 of their last 8, but they got to take on a very solid and very good Holcomb program here at home at Centennial Park. Look forward to bringing you coverage of that starting at 2:40 Mountain Time with Goodland Game Day presented by the insurance agency. But yeah, if we could get those games in, then if it wanted to rain for a little bit, I'd be all fine with that. And no severe weather. I would prefer that if at all possible. But I'm not the weatherman. If I was the weather machine, I would be a lot richer and probably wouldn't be living anywhere around here. I'd be living wherever I wanted to if I could control the weather. Anyway, right now, 53 and cloudy. Right now, currently here in the Northwest Kansas area. We've got a full show ahead today. We will be visiting with our good friend from Chiefs Blitz. That's Nick Athen. He'll be joining the show to discuss the NFL draft, which gets going tonight, the 2025 NFL draft with the Chiefs and the Broncos, of course, getting first-round selections. There's some news this morning saying that the Broncos possibly could be looking to maybe even give that pick up and move back. We'll see. That was a report from Adam Schefter of ESPN this morning that the Broncos have fielded calls talking about that 20th pick. I know they're kind of hoping to sit there or maybe even move up some to take a run at Ashton Gentry. I saw a mock draft last night that thought Gentry would be gone within the first, 10 to 12 picks. So Ashton Gentry, the running back from Boise State. So we'll see about that. And the Chiefs just kind of sitting down there with pick number 31, more than likely to go along the offensive or defensive line. Always a good place to go late in the round. So we'll get to more thoughts on that with our good friend Nick Athen from ChiefsBlitz.com. We'll get to some local sports a little bit later on, but I want to kick off the show this morning. I'll tell you what, I don't know what in the world is going on. I know we talk about this a lot on the show, but to me, it's a humongous topic. What in the world is going on in college athletics? So there's 3 stories that I would kind of like to dive into here that I'd like to kind of accumulate over the next 15 minutes or less and talk about these 3 stories. But what in the world is going on in college athletics? So I want to jump back to last week. This story was very interesting. Of course, we talked about it last week about Nico Amaliva leaving Tennessee or having to leave Tennessee because Tennessee was not going to meet his demands. And so so they parted ways, and Tennessee was like, okay, we're moving on. And Nico said, okay, I'm going to transfer to UCLA because that was what he's going to do. I mean, I think he was making $2 million plus a year there. He's now going to make less than that at UCLA with a way less talented roster. It's looking like a very bad move for Nico at this point in time. We will see, but he's moving back closer to, I think he's from California, so he's getting closer to family and all that stuff. And so he's moving back there, is Nico Amaliva. So he's going there. UCLA had a transfer quarterback who was in line to start here in 2025, and that would have been the transfer from Appalachia State or App State in Joey Aguilar. Well, it all turns out that Aguilar is now going to transfer to Tennessee. So it's pretty much a quarterback trade. Now, is it a fair trade? No, but Tennessee gets Aguilar from UCLA, and Nico Amaliva Nico Amaliva goes to UCLA from Tennessee. That's what happened here just within the last week or so. And so Aguilar goes from App State to UCLA during the winter portal, the front runner to be the starting quarterback for the Bruins, And then with the announcement of Amaleva on this previous Sunday that he's come to UCLA, he entered the portal and is going to be now is in probably Knoxville, Tennessee, getting ready to try and compete for that job there at UT. Absolutely ridiculous. But that's what's going on. That is what is going on. And it's one of those deals, and Tennessee, Aguilar was making around $1.2 million on his UCLA deal. And at Tennessee, he's going to get close. I mean, Tennessee is getting a quarterback for a much less money. He only has 1 year remaining. He's 6'3", 220 pounds, has over 6,700 yards and 56 touchdowns in 2 seasons at App State as their starter. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. Think about it. They pretty much traded quarterbacks to UCLA and Tennessee, and Tennessee kind of gets the short end of the stick when it comes to talent wise. But they have a quarterback who's going to be there, whereas one that was looking to get more money at this point in time, end up going to a worse roster and will certainly have less success, I would think, than he would if he would have stayed at Tennessee. So there was one story that I thought was interesting. And then to pile on that, early this week, Nico has a brother named Madden who is in the quarterback race and trying to compete for a job at Arkansas. Was Madden, I believe he's a year younger than him. But he was at Arkansas as part of a NIL deal, and he was in the midst of getting a deal around $500,000. He signed an NIL deal with Arkansas, their NIL program called the Arkansas Edge, that's valued around $500,000. The contract included a clause requiring repayment of 50% of remaining value if the athlete left before the contract's end. And with 8 months left on the deal, the Arkansas Edge is pursuing $200,000 from Madden Amaleva. So this is precedent right here. This is a precedent of what is happening in college athletics with NIL deals. Look, if you want to come here and play ball, that's great. Here's some money to come play for our university. But I like this clause. I think it's smart. Let's have a clause that is in here that says if you leave before the end of this deal, we're going to come after some of that money that is owed, that we gave to you. That's I don't have a problem with that. Personally, I don't. Now, is there any way that this holds up in court? Because once again, this is, it's kind of set. This will be a deal where it sets precedent going forward. But yeah, I have no problem with this. I think this is actually the right move. How do you prevent guys from moving around? Well, if you're going to offer big money deals, you need to stick around and honor the end of our agreement. It's just not a one-sided deal. I have no problem with this. Arkansas Athletic Director Hunter Yurachek has supported publicly the collective's efforts to go and get those funds back, and emphasizing the importance of enforcing such agreements in the evolving landscape of college athletics. So I would agree. To me, this is a smart thing. Madden is apparently going to transfer back to UCLA. They can't stop that, but they could sue his butt to get that money back. And I think that's something that they should probably do. You got to start doing these things. You got to start making kids pay for things because they just can't get away with, I'm not saying they're getting away with murder, but they just can't get away with all the stuff they're getting away with. It's not exactly right. So they're going to continue to work on this. And I think this is a thing that is very much in the right direction. I really, really do. So I love that. That Arkansas is going to go out there and try and get some of that money back from Madden Amaleva, who once again had a deal around $500,000, but they're trying to get about $200,000 of those dollars back. And I don't have a problem with this. I think it's great. Hopefully there is more of that to come in the future for college athletics. And then, you tie all that in to some news, I think around the University of, some news yesterday out of Kansas and Kansas State. Because the coaches met with the media yesterday, did Lance Leipold for KU, and then there were comments made by Chris Kleiman here. Now I'm not saying yesterday, but here recently he made some comments, and I think you can tie that all in here. Leipold really was talking about how how much he's emphasized the needing to adapt to the changing college athletics landscape, developing players as both athletes and leaders, and talking about how, they're really focusing on trying to create great unity in their program. And it's how that's going to be a humongous key to sustained success, which Lance Leipold's exactly right. It's extremely hard to build a program anymore now because with players leaving and going or coming and leaving as they will, it's hard to build that. And so how do you go about doing it? You're trying to emphasizing on making sure that you are trying to develop your players, the best people that they can be. Maybe you're not going after the most talented players. You're going after guys that you know that they'll stick around and play, and you can develop those guys. And keeping unity in your program is going to, I think, lead to success, whereas other teams, they may hit one year with the big portal class. They may bring in another big portal class and completely crash down. We'll see. But Leipold talked about that yesterday in an interview. And then there was a very interesting quote from Chris Kleiman, because Chris Kleiman, as we get to the end of the spring portion of college football season, and at the end is a spring portal window where kids who may not, who want to go somewhere else, they still can go there. And it's really, really big this year because of the 105. That's the number that's being out there. There's 105 roster spots now in college football. It used to be, unlimited. You could have your 85 guys on scholarship, and then you could have as many as you wanted on walk-on. So you would see some teams have, 130, 150 guys on the football team, but, only 85 of them were on scholarship. The rest were paying their own way and just wanted to be part of the program. You saw that at Kansas State. You saw it at KU. You saw it in Nebraska. It was all over the place that they were doing this kind of stuff. And they loved those extra numbers for scout team and just for culture guys. They love that. Well, the law is trying to get in there and saying, well, we're going to try and cap that at 105. Now, you can have all 105 guys on scholarship, but you cannot have more than 105 guys on your roster. And so they're kind of eliminating the walk-on program in a lot of instances at a lot of programs. And Chris Kleiman was asked about this, and he was torn up about it. There's a lot of kids that have come to Kansas State in this example that have come there to put on the purple and to want to be a part of the program. And they understand that they may not really ever see the field on a game day and play, but they get to be on the sidelines. They get to be in the practice time. They get to be in all this stuff, and they get to have be a part of this program and the tradition that they've built there at Kansas State in Manhattan. They want to be a part of that, even though they're not, probably going to play and they have to pay their own way. They just want to be part of the program and say that they were. And he's having to tell some of these guys, you know what? We can't have you here anymore. You're going to have to go somewhere else. You're pretty much cutting players. And he was saying that it is one of the most difficult things, if not the most difficult thing he's ever had to do in his time of being a head coach. It's one of the most difficult things to do. And I totally understand it. And that's why you're seeing, some coaches are calling, Division II schools or FCS schools saying, hey, come look at these kids. We want them to be able to have a chance to go play because they can't play for us anymore because of the 105. That's what's been going on for the previous few days. But now we're starting to see a hang up in the court systems now where now they're saying, well, we don't really like the 105 because it's limiting opportunities for other kids. And so now there's something, now it's hanging in the balance that they may be able to be over 105. But Chris Kleiman, a lot of coaches have already had these conversations with these kids saying that they're not going to make it. That is a sad deal. It's a sad deal. No leadership cannot get its you-know-what in a group. And because that, it's just constantly being it's just turning out to be a really, really, really sad deal. Listener Andy says, these kids are not getting chances to develop into something, and that is sad, which it is true because last year's Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, by the way, he was a walk-on. And there's a lot of great stories of that, as Andy mentioned. A lot of guys that were overlooked, walked on, worked their you-know-what's off, and then made themselves into an all-league caliber player. It happens at all, especially a lot of the Midwest schools. You see it a ton with these kids with these Midwestern backgrounds. They come on, they just work, they get it done. There's tons and tons of players like that. Tons of them. And like I said, it's a terrible deal because they're cutting roster sizes, at least they say they're going to. And then all of a sudden there's really like, well, the judge says, I don't really like this. And so now it hangs in the balance. Coaches and players need rules. There have to be rules. You have to put up guidelines and rules so that you can then hopefully follow them to the best of your ability. Well, we have 105 roster spots, so we have to cut down. Well, we actually have 120 roster spots, so you know what? We're okay. You have to set rules when it comes to the NIL. We have to set rules. Yeah, you want to come here and make this money? Great. But if you leave early, if you make a breach of contract, guess what? We're taking some of that money. It happens all over the world, people. All over the world it happens. It's a part of real life. Right now, college athletics is living in a fantasy land. It's a fantasy land where you can go there and do whatever you want, go wherever you want, make money however you want, take the best deal, leave that behind, go somewhere else every single year. It's with no repercussions. It's a fantasy land. College athletics are living in a fantasy land, and they have to find a way to get this taken care of because they're hurting the players, they're hurting the coaches, they're hurting the universities. Everyone's getting hurt. Really, no one is benefiting from this. Someone has got to get a tamper on this to get this figured down. They got to get this tamped down and get it taken care of so then people can follow the rules and be better equipped for the years to come. There's no other thing that happens in the world where it's like what you're seeing in college athletics like now. There is nothing in the world like it. And so they have to find a way to get these rules put in some sort of way, these barriers put in to help give coaches, players, and everybody involved more guidelines to follow and not just be this free-for-all because there's nothing in the world like it. It's a fantasy land in college athletics right now. Look at the stories of the previous week, the Nico Amaliva, Madden Amaliva, the 105 rule saying we're going to do it. Now we're possibly not. It's a fantasy land. Got to get these things tampered down. So anyway, very interesting week in college athletics. And I don't know what the heck's going on, but it's not good. Okay, 7:28 Mountain, 8:28 Central Time. We have gotten a couple more rainfall reports. Leota, almost 3 inches last night. Shout out, Leota. Thank you for chiming in. Appreciate that. Some more rainfall reports from last night. That's fantastic. Love to see more rain for sure. Inch 70 in Oakley, inch and a half Winona. Grinnell had an inch 30. Colby had 30. Rexford with 20 points. And like I mentioned, Weskin had the most here on the very west side of the state with a half inch from what I've been reporting or what I've seen at this point in time. So there you go. More of the rainfall reports from last night's storm and hopefully some more rain tonight. Hopefully no severe weather. Knock on wood. Okay, 7:29 now. Let's take our first time out. We come back. Nick Athen, our good friend from Chiefs Blitz, waiting patiently to talk some NFL draft as the first round gets going tonight from Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's right. That's where the draft is this year. We'll talk on that next. This is the Morning Blitz.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Thursday, April 24th. On the overnight last night, made corn higher 1 3/4 at 4.73 3/4. July up 1 1/4 at 4.80 1/2. September up 1/4 cent at 4.45 3/4. December up 1/2 cent at 4.55. Made soybeans up 4 1/2 on the overnight at 10.44 3/4. July up 3 1/4 at 10.53 1/2. August up 2 3/4 at 10.46. September beans up 2 cents at 10.25. Chicago beets made contract higher 1/4 cent at 5.28 1/2. July unchanged at 5.43 1/2. September down a cent at 5.57 1/4. December soft wheat down 3/4 at 5.79 1/2. Kansas City wheat made contract higher lower 3 1/2 at 5.34 1/4. July down 3 1/2 at 5.46 3/4. September down 3 1/4 at 5.61 3/4. December down 3 1/2 at 5.84 3/4. On the stock market this morning, the Dow down $131 at 39,648. The S&P down 1/4 cent at 5,401. Gold higher $54 at 3,348, and crude oil up 58 cents a barrel at 62.85. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484 or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Pluto, Jared Law, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Today, we're talking with Zach Ogles, agronomy manager from Tessenderlo Curley. Zach, how can Thiosol and KTS improve outcomes for wheat growers?
When they apply a product like one of our thiosulfates, they're not only going to be receiving the sulfur benefit, they're going to be protecting the nitrogen that they're applying along with it. We can help a grower reduce losses through nitrate leaching. We're helping to protect the groundwater, improving the well water quality, while keeping most of that nitrogen available to the plant.
Ask your local ag retailer for Thiosol and KTS.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 is our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, and cleaner American fuel. This message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
The only way to start your day.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
With Ross Volkmer and the Morning Blitz.
7:33 on a Thursday in the Mountain Times on 8:33 Central Time. Don't forget, folks, the Frontmen are coming to concert at the Colby Event Center. That is a week from this Saturday, May the 3rd. You want to check out the Frontmen. Going to be a great show. Lead singers, of course, from The Restless Heart, Little Texas. Oh, my goodness, and I'm losing my mind on the other one. I'll have to pull that one out. I don't know why I'm forgetting it. But anyway, don't miss out on your opportunity to see great country legends with a special guest, Brock Wagner. Once again, you get your tickets now at ndbksradio.net. Get your tickets at ndbksradio.net. Go check out the Frontmen. Going to be a phenomenal show. I know Paul Heskett has talked about how, he went and saw them, I think, recently in Salina. I think he said he bought $65 tickets, and he was in there. Thank you, Chad. Lone Star. Thank you very much. I could not think of that off the top of my head. Nonetheless, there we go. Restless Heart, Lone Star, Little Texas, lead singers from them, all going to be the Frontman, coming to a concert here on May the 3rd. Once again, get your tickets, ndbksradio.net. Tickets are selling, and like Paul Heskett was saying, he spent $65, had an average seat at best. And thanks to our sponsors, you can buy tickets pretty darn cheap, a lot cheaper than, $25, $30, depending on where you want to sit. So make sure you check out those at ndbksradio.net and be a part of the Frontman concert coming up here on what is this week from this Saturday. Okay, let's welcome into the show. He joins us on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. He's our good friend, Nick Athen from Chief Splits. Good morning, sir. How are we doing today?
Hey, salute to Little Texas, man.
Are you a fan?
I am. Yeah, that was a while ago.
A while ago?
Definitely a fan. Yeah.
I tell you, yeah, out there, but between the three guys, the Frontmen, they have, I think, 30 number one hits or something like that. So yeah, it's
that'd be a great concert to go to. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good one. So make sure you check that out at ndbksradio.net. Nick Athen joins us now. How excited how excited are you for tonight, Nick, with the NFL draft?
I'm kind of seasoned now. I don't get as crazy as I used to be. So I've done about 35 mock drafts, and this morning I did like 3 more, and I'm kind of narrowing down what I think the Chiefs will ultimately do. But, I think once you get past pick 3 or 4, it's beauty in the eye of the beholder. It's whatever team feels like they want to move up to get that guy. I think it's going to be a crazy first round. I think you're going to see more trades than we've ever seen in the first round, because there's so much parity at positions like defensive tackle, running back, depth, wide receiver, offensive line. When you get to the 3rd or 4th round, offensive line is not as deep, but all the areas of need for the Chiefs, running back, offensive line, defensive tackle, tight end, cornerback. The Chiefs could go hog wild and just make a ton of trades to pick up a bunch of extra picks, which is what I think they're going to do. But I'm excited because I think to this this represents the end of the Super Bowl nastiness that we had to deal with. The free agency was kind of fun, and the Chiefs made some really good moves to kind of position themselves to be in a really good spot in this draft to take, best player available and mix in a couple of needs here and there. But now it's over with. The Super Bowl is over with. Now we just talk about the 2025 season. And every team today, all 32 teams think they're going to win the Super Bowl, and maybe about 5 have the capability of doing it. But it's going to be a fun first round, maybe fun second round as well.
So you have the feeling of maybe that they may not even pick in the first round if they take some picks, and they could possibly trade back.
Yeah, I think that's highly possible. I think there are the Josh Simmons rumors. Listen, he had a partial tear of his patella tendon. He didn't have a full tear. Not many NFL players have had success in coming back from an injury like that. He's a first round guy, for sure. But I don't know if the Chiefs, that's a lot of smokescreen. I mean, they met with him. They had a private meeting. They had a Zoom call with him. They brought him in for 3 days in Kansas City and worked him out. Everybody in the organization absolutely loves him. Are they 100% confident he can play? Now, my opinion is he's not going to be ready to get on the football field till November. So the Chiefs, in signing a free agent tackle or have some room there. But I wouldn't be shocked if they went out of the first round. If Simmons falls, now I'm hearing, your neighbor, the Denver Broncos, are very silently, not so silent as of what I'm about to say, are very high on Josh Simmons as well. I don't know their left tackle situation, how good he is or isn't, but they're a team that I think could develop him, into a guy who may be able to start for them in 2026. So, what are they picking, 15 or 16 or something like that?
20th at this point in time.
20th. So, that's a team to watch out for the Chiefs. But I do think one player that is very intriguing to me that I think is going to blow the top off everybody and what they think the Chiefs are going to do, and that's Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State, the wide receiver. He is falling down every single draft board that I've seen in the last 3 or 4 days, even to the top of the second round, where I have the Chiefs probably trading out with the Giants and picking up some extra picks. But he is a guy that I think fits perfectly in Andy Reid's offense. They need another wide receiver. They're going to have several free agents next year at the position, and this allows Patrick Mahomes to have another weapon. And if you heard Patrick Mahomes yesterday in his press conference with his newly groomed haircut and running off the rust of chasing 3 children around in the offseason, he sounds like he really wants the Chiefs offense to go back to what it was. And he's going to chuck the ball a lot. He's going to take more risks. And I think Egbuka, to me, is one of the best wide receivers in this draft class. And if he slides that far, it's going to be interesting. So we'll see. But I think the Chiefs are trading out of the 31st pick tonight.
We're visiting with Chiefs Blitzes and our good friend Nick Athen on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream here on this Thursday morning prior to the 2025 first round of the NFL draft. I'm curious to get your thoughts. What do you think Denver does? I mean, I've talked to people in Denver. They think more running back, but I don't know what's going to be available at that point in time unless they trade up. Ashton Jeanty's been talked about. I think you have to trade up to probably get him. There's some other good running backs. Where else do you think they could go?
Well, I mean, I think running back is probably there's some really good running backs. Hampton, to me, if Hampton's there at 31, it's a no-brainer for the Chiefs. You draft him and you make him your next Jamal Charles. I think for them, running back, tight end, I think those are the 2 areas in which I think they have to improve their offense. I think their defense is set. It's the best defense in the AFC West on paper as we head into the the mini camp and training camp era or the time coming up. That defense is stacked. It is so good. It was so good last year. And, as long as the quarterback doesn't have the sophomore slump, but they got to get him more weapons. I think the offensive line is good. I don't think it's great. But running back or tight end, now they'd have to move up. Now Genty, I'm not as sold on him as some other people are. I just look back at that playoff performance where he was just bottled up. And that's what he's going to face in the NFL. So to think that he's going to be, a Saquon Barkley type of running back, unless he goes to the right team, and the Broncos with that run scheme, the way they block with their offensive line, the downhill running, that would be a good spot for him. But, he's going to be the key. I think personally, the New England Patriots are going to take a really hard look at him. And I think that's going to throw off what Denver wants to do, because I think they want to move up to get him. But I don't know if they have enough ammunition or, they're willing to sell out to get a guy they think can help them win an AFC West title this year.
Nick, who do you think should be the first quarterback taken? Is it as easy as it's Cam Ward, or is there a discussion for somebody else?
It's Cam Ward and everybody else thereafter. I mean, I think he's still kind of raw. He's a guy that can do everything. He's going to a good organization in Tennessee. Well, a rebuilding organization, let's just say. So I'm really high on him. I have no love for Shadir Sanders at all. I don't see it. I think at best he's a second-round pick, and I know it's going to upset some people on that side of the state. For me, he has to go to the perfect team. He can't go to the Raiders. It makes no sense. The Steelers would be a good match for him, and I think that would be a really good place for him, because Mike Tomlin is, love him or hate him, he's trenched in. And he won't be swayed by the Deion Sanders aspect of this, because when you draft, you're getting the father as well. And a lot of organizations aren't going to be able to handle that. And a lot of organizations are going to make a mistake if they think they can. So you have to have a very strong head coach, and one that Sanders has either a relationship with or a respect for, in order for his son to excel at the NFL level. So, I mean, I think if he's sitting there at 31, I think it's entirely possible if Pittsburgh passes on him. I think the Chiefs would be trading that pick, with a team like Cleveland or the New York Giants, to get to move up. So he's a wild card, I think, in this first round tonight. And, the rumor about the executive coming out, or the coach, saying that the interview process was a disaster. He feels very entitled. These are all things that you can just kind of assume because of the way his daddy is. And listen, I love his father. Great football player, great coach. He's a shock the system kind of guy. But I don't think his son has enough talent to warrant going in the first half or even the first round. Just as my opinion.
Okay, so who is the next quarterback behind Cam Ward, not named Shadir Sanders, that you're intrigued to see who might be able to have a decent NFL career? Because honestly, this is not a great class of quarterbacks.
No, it's a crappy class. Let's just be honest.
The guy that keeps getting brought up a lot is Tyler Shugg out of Louisville, and I just can't believe it. I can't buy that.
I don't see it either. I mean, Jalen Milroe to me is the guy that's probably next. He's got a lot of upside. I really thought he'd be a first round pick, but I don't think that. And I think once you get past there, what do you have? I mean, this reminds me of the Chiefs when they had the number 1 pick and there were no quarterbacks, and they took Eric Fisher. This might be a worse draft class than that one. And I think Milroe, to me, is a guy. He's if he goes to the right team, he goes to the right offensive system. This year is the most important aspect of any of these quarterbacks. Whether you pick one in the first round or the 6th round, you got to go to the right team. We've seen it. You and I have watched enough drafts where you can't fit a square peg quarterback in a round hole.
That's exactly right. Yep.
And we talk about Sanders, and to me, he reminds me a little bit of Jamarcus Russell. Had an attitude, had a lot of talent. A free making kind of, get out there in space and make play kind of quarterback. But can he work within the system? And like if he goes to the New York Giants, it'd be a disaster. If he goes to the Cleveland Browns, it would be a disaster. So again, Milroe to me is the next quarterback. A lot of mocks have him in the 2nd round. Again, at 31, if the team really likes Milroe, they're going to call the Chiefs. Now the Chiefs have talked to several teams, the Bears, the Browns, about moving up into the first round. Those conversations will increase as the draft unfolds. But Milroe to me would be the next guy.
That tells you how, I'm not trying to pick on these guys or anything like that, but it tells you how tough this class is for quarterbacks when Tommy Mellott at Montana State makes the top 15. And Tommy Mellott is not a passer. He's a runner. He's a running quarterback.
Yeah, that doesn't work in the NFL. I'm sorry.
It doesn't work.
You cannot win the big games. If you're a run first quarterback, it just doesn't work at the NFL level.
Nick Athen, our guest from Chiefs Blitz on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC broadcast seats. Looking at everybody who's draftable at this point in time, who are one or two guys you think will make big impacts here in the first year or two? No matter where they go. Usually that means you got to go defense because, like you said before, it depends on the fit. But who do you think you feel pretty confident guys that are going to be good pros out of this class?
I like TJ Sanders, the defensive tackle from South Carolina. I like his game a lot. He's somebody who I think can come into any organization. He could start right away. He's going to be anywhere from the mid-second to the top, somewhere in the top of the third round. I think he'd be a great fit for the Chiefs. A guy I absolutely love, local product in Lawrence, Devin Neal. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, and you can scream at me a year from now. But Devin Neal will be one of the best, if not the best, running back out of this draft class. I think he has every intangible you want. Does he have the elite speed? No, but he's a warrior when it comes to, if I need 3, I'm going to get 4 yards. If I need to be patient, there's no better patient runner coming out of this draft class than him. Hampton obviously is a first round pick, and I love him. But Devin Neal in the third round would be a terrific choice for the Chiefs. He's a perfect fit. He'd be the starter from day one. I really like him a lot. And I think the other guy to keep an eye on is an offensive tackle, Marcus Mebo from Purdue. He's just rising up the draft boards. I think this is a guy who can start right away. I would love to see him fall to the Chiefs. That would be absolutely great. The guard from North Dakota State also as well would be a terrific fit for the Chiefs. But, I think, again, Ross, I've done so many mock drafts, and looking at it right now, it's just like the second round is going to be like crazy. There's so much talent. Jalen Noel, the wide receiver from Iowa State, would be great. Josh Connerly, the offensive tackle. You're going to get starters in rounds 2 and 3 in this draft, plentiful for all these teams. But, to me, I've fallen in love with Devin Neal. I could talk about him all day long. I watched him sacrifice last year with a horrific coaching performance at KU, and he comes out and he just plays lights out. He's a winner. I'm for Kansas fans, think LaDainian Tomlinson, not as good, but close enough to where he can be a game changer.
I really like this running back class, honestly. I think it's a great running back class.
Amazing.
G.T. Hampton, Judkins and Henderson out of Ohio State. Caleb Johnson, another one of those great patient runners at Iowa. He was fantastic. I'm a huge Cam Scatteraboo fan out of Arizona.
Oh, God. State. Yeah, Cam's available at the top of the third round on every draft board. Giddens from Kansas State would be terrific as well.
He's great. Yes, I was going to say, I didn't get to DJ Giddens. He's wonderful. This is a great running back class.
Yeah, the Chiefs can go into the fifth. Well, they don't have a 5th round pick yet, but they can go into the 4th round and they could get, a top shelf running back. The kid from Oklahoma State, whose name is escaping me at the moment.
Ollie Gordon.
Ollie Gordon. Sorry, Ollie Gordon would be terrific. He's closer to Jamal Charles. If Gordon and Neal are there, it's a beauty in the eye of the beholder. Either one is going to be a winner because they've had good coaching. They understand the run block schemes. They're patient runners. They have enough breakaway speed to get, a 20, 30-yard gain. But this running back class, the Chiefs have had some success, Isaiah Pacheco, though I'm a little down on, he's got a lot to prove this year. But I think this running back class, I think the Chiefs will draft 1. I wouldn't be shocked if they drafted 2.
God, you just go down this list. Woody Marks at USC. He was good this year. Kyle Monangai at Rutgers. Another really good running back. Wow. This class is deep. My goodness.
It's super deep, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, is there going to be a run on running backs? In the 2nd and 3rd round. I think the 3rd round is going to be where you're going to get a run on running backs. Maybe into the 4th round. But Yeah, if you need a guy who can get you 25 touches and get you over 100 yards, 125 yards in production, you're probably 10 or 12 running backs deep going into tonight.
I'll get you out of here on this one. Of course, the wonder kid, Travis Hunter. Where do you think he goes, and do you think he's going to get that chance to play two positions?
Yeah, I think I think so. I mean, I hate for him to go to the Browns or the Giants, but he'll probably get his way. If he somehow falls to the Patriots, that would be, I think, the best situation for him from a coaching perspective. But I think NFL teams are scared enough that if they draft him, they're going to have to play him, offensive defense. Now, will they limit his snaps? Probably. He'll have to ultimately choose to come out, to play cornerback, and you give him some wide receiver sets. You give him maybe one, you give him maybe 3 or 4 opportunities, in each half to let him go out there and kind of do his thing. And he'll be a decoy either way. But again, I don't like either of the organizations in which he's gonna be available to. But I don't think either one of those teams are gonna make a trade out. Now the Giants might, and maybe somebody swoops in, but it's gonna be tough for him to escape going to 2 really bad football teams.
Nick, are you open Monday? I'd love to have you back to look back at the draft when we get a period on this. So let's just pencil you in for Monday. Sound good?
All right. Sounds great, Ross.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate you hopping on. Have a great weekend. Enjoy, but don't stress too much. Did your wife make a vegetable stew for the draft?
Oh, hell yeah. It's on the agenda today.
Right. That's what I like to hear. Thanks, buddy. Be well.
All right. Take care.
Great stuff there from Nick Athen here on the Morning Blitz, our good friend from Chiefs Blitz. Make sure you check out chiefsblitz.com. He's got a lot of great information there. Him and his crew do a great job. So Nick Athen of chiefsblitz.com. And like I said, we'll have him back on Monday. Look back at the entire draft and get his thoughts on what all went down. All right, let's get to a timeout. When we come back, we're going to wrap the show with some local sports, and we got to get out of here. We're up against the clock, so you're listening to Morning Blitz.
Get ready for powerful deals at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Right now, drive home a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max with 0.9% financing or up to $7,800 in purchase allowance. Step up in luxury in a 2025 Sierra 1500 Denali and get up to $5,250 in purchase allowance. Or take on any job with the 25 Sierra 2500 with 3.9% APR or up to $2,700 in purchase allowance. These offers won't last. Rush into Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or shop online at hurlchev.com.
Lohr Electric is your local expert. When you visit with Zach at Lohr Electric, he'll tell you they can do anything. At least when it comes to electrical work, Lohr Electric is your local expert. From replacing lights in your home to LEDs to save money to even setting up power to grain bins on the farm. No matter if it's residential, commercial, or agricultural, Lohr Electric is your local expert. Contact them today and see how Zach and his crew can help with your electrical needs, because they do more at Lohr.
Happy Community Bank Month from all of us at Farmers State Bank of Oakley. We're proud to be your local bank, rooted and invested in our community since 1907. Thank you to our customers for your continued trust and loyalty. And if you're looking for a more local and genuine banking experience, come visit with us. We're ready to help. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
You're tuned in to the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
Just about 4 minutes left to go here in the Thursday show. Thanks again to Nick Athen for joining the program. Another reminder, folks, NWKSradio.net, the place to go for your tickets to see the Frontmen coming up a week from this Saturday. And also be tuned into your radio this evening. Could be a chance of some severe thunderstorms and some severe weather. So we'll try to keep you updated as best we can if you tune in this evening.
with for severe weather coverage. So, local sports real quickly. Yesterday, Colby Community College baseball took on Cloud County at Young Memorial Field. They got the first game in. It was a Trojan loss, 5-1 to Cloud County. And then in game number 2, it was suspended in the 3rd inning due to weather, and they're going to try and resume that game at a later date. By the way, Goodland's Cole Linton did not pitch at all yesterday. He's actually scheduled to pitch Saturday, I saw on a social media post. So CCC and Cloud scheduled to play on Saturday in Cloud, and we'll see how the Trojans bounce back from that opening loss of that series. There is some local sports today, not a lot. Norton has their golf invitational scheduled for today. Goodland, Hoxie, Oakley, a few teams expected to head there. We'll see if Oakley's Easton Fink can pick up another tournament victory. He's been on a roll here to begin the season. Wheatland Grinnell has a golf invite as well. Wallace County, Quinter. Oakley's also, I guess it's Oakley JV, maybe goes there. We'll see. But Wallace County and Quinter are going to, for sure, the Wheatland Grinnell golf invite today. So a couple golf tournaments on this Thursday. Colby Community College softball getting down to the very end of their regular season. The Lady Trojans, the second to last series of the season, they are at Otero today for a doubleheader of softball. And I mentioned off the top of the show, we'll have coverage of Goodland Cowboy baseball as GHS plays host to the Longhorns of Holcomb at Centennial Park here in Goodland. We'll have coverage starting at 2:40 Mountain Time, first pitch at 3 o'clock Mountain Time right here on Rocket 102.5. Interesting series. Holcomb sits atop of the GWAC standings at this point in time. They have not been beaten. They are 6-0. They were a team that played for a regional title, a chance to go to state last year, lost to Hoisington 10-4, and ended the Cowboys season last year in the quarterfinal round. This year, Goodland has already doubled their win total from a season ago. They won 3 games last year, which is just a shock to me. But they've bounced back. They've won 6 games here. They've won 6 of their last 8. They're playing some good baseball. They've cut down on the errors. Their pitching has been really good, and they're hitting the ball at a respectable level. Now, can they continue? Now, they've done that against Decatur Community, who I don't think has won a game this season. They've done it against some other teams that have really struggled, Ulysses and Hugoton. Now you're going to face kind of the upper tier of teams in the GWAC now going forward, your Holcombs, your Scott Cities. How do you handle that? That's what I'm intrigued to see today. How do the Cowboys handle a good team, a better team than they face at this point in time in their schedule? That's what I want to see, and I'm excited to see it. Cowboys and Longhorns going at it today here in Goodland. Hopefully the weather will hold off, and coverage will be right here on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. Also, one thing before we get to the walk-off. No baseball yesterday between the Royals and the Rockies. That was postponed due to a 2-hour delay, a rain delay, so they pushed it back to today. We'll have a doubleheader here on Thursday beginning at 1:10 Central, 12:10 Mountain Time. There was always the Rockies on AM 730 KLOE and the Royals on AM 790 KXXX. Royals took game 1 4-3 in extra innings. We'll see games 2 and 3 here this afternoon. All right, let's make our way on to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Brady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
All right, wrapping things up. A neat local story to an extent. I saw this week that former Goodland cowgirl Lindsay Cure was named one of the RMAC Conference Track and Field Athlete of the Week. I think it was the Field Athlete of the Week, as she took first and has the 13th best throw in Division II when it comes to the javelin. Lindsay went to Regis in Denver and to play volleyball, but she is on the track team, which I think is in its first year of existence. And anyway, she's out there with really no coaching whatsoever and already winning RMAC Track Athlete of the Week. So congratulations to Lindsay on her success. Also, some interesting news, some breaking news to an extent here during the show. Tell you what, Fox Sports has been making a big push on some of ESPN's personalities. They made a huge run at Chris Fowler for game day. I think it was Chris Fowler, not Reese Davis. It was one of those two. I think it was Chris Fowler. Made a huge push for him. to come be their lead guy on their morning sports show, Big Noon Kickoff. They wanted him to be on Big Noon Kickoff as their host, which I think their other guy does just fine. Rob Stone does a great job. But they made a big push for him. And he said, no, I'm going to stay at ESPN, signed him even a bigger contract. Well, this morning, the Fox Sports is going to pick up Robert Griffin III, who I think has always been a really solid analyst. I know ESPN let him go in a recent set of cuts, but I think it's a great pickup. Fox Sports, he'll be the number 2 analyst after being fired 8 months ago. So I don't know. I think it's a good pickup. He's a good analyst. I like him on those. So Fox continue to grow their college sports, football, basketball empire. They just continue to do it each and every year. All right, that'll do it for our show. Thanks to Nick Athen for tuning in today. Really appreciate it. We're back again tomorrow in 23 hours. We'll recap the draft and get you set for the weekend. That's tomorrow on the Blitz. Hope to see you then.
Rocket 102.5 is KKCI, Goodland, Colby, Burlington.